Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troller. 1972 to 1975.
Game 420, Tigers at Expos. Welcome back, baseball fans. The 1972-75 Carryover League. We have a series today in the American League North between the Detroit Tigers and the Expos. And this is a rather intriguing bit of recreated history. It's almost like a what if. What if we would have put the Expos in the American League instead of the National League? And what if there were more divisions and the Expos' biggest competition were perennial, long-standing Major League franchises, Cleveland, Detroit, and another expansion team? Well, man, the Expos would be pretty happy with that because the Tigers and Cleveland kind of fade a bit in the 70s. Particularly the Tigers after their, playoff appearance in the early 70s. Let's go show you what's happened in this. Game 1, opening up in Lake Champlain, home of the Burlington Expos. It's Steve Ranko for the home team against Dave Lemanchek for the visitors. And Lemanchek gets lit up. 5 2/3, 10 hits, and 9 runs. A little bit from everybody here. Bob Bailey triple. You have a Ron Fairley home run, walk, single, walk, double, sac fly, single kind of inning. 2-run homer, Mike Jorgensen kind of inning. Jim Nettles hits a homer for Pete's sakes. This thing is no competition for the young Expos. Backing Steve Ranko, who went 7 innings. 11-5. But then the Tigers start to, have discussions about this young team formerly out of Canada. So they send Mickey Lolich out there against Bill Stoneman, and Mick is ready for him. He 7 hits and a run, 4 walks, 8 Ks, giving up just 1 run. The Tiger offense, you got a 2-run homer by Norm Cash. You have a 2-run single by John Stevenson. RBI single by K-Line. That would beat Stoneman, who went 7 innings. 5-1 Tigers. Series tied a game apiece, so we go to Detroit for a Game 3. And in Game 3, these Tigers are saying, please stop trying to throw dirt on us. You've been trying to bury us, as we were old. And the old men, once they're backed in a corner, say, heck with that. You give them gifts, they're going to take advantage of it. Bottom of the first, 2-base error on Lee Stanton of the Expos. An error on Ron Hunt of the Expos in a Mickey Stanley homer. That's 4 runs. And today, Joe Coleman goes 6. And great relief help from George Culver and John Hiller. And the Tigers beat the Expos 5-2. Take a 2-1 series lead. Game 4. Can the Expos even this thing up? And this is like, you call this the game that got away from both teams, really. It's Steve Rogers, the best pitcher on the Expos, dominates lefties. He's okay. He's good against righties. Against Tom Timmerman. And the wily Detroit Tigers decide to put lefties Jim Northrup, Dick McAuliffe, staples of their lineup, on the bench with John Stevenson. And they shake Rogers in this one. Early in the second, single, walk. Then walk, single, and then the single was a hit off of a defensive player on an X to extend the inning. And then Norm Cash, grand slam home run. 7 runs for the Tigers, but they let this get away. Timmerman could only get through 4 innings, a 4-run second and a 4-run third, with damage done by Jerry White with a 2-run triple in the second and a 3-run homer in the fourth. 3 for 4 with 5 RBIs and the 2 extra base hits. And then in the 7th inning, they pile on to get some distance. Single, walk, 3-run triple by Jim Nettles, a sac fly by Billy Grabarkowitz, 12-8. Rogers, pretty ordinary. He went 5 innings to qualify for a win, gave up 7 hits, 7 walks, and 7 runs. Pretty awful, but his team gave him some support, and he got a victory. Which brings us to a tied series. Pivotal Game 5, getaway day in Detroit. So what do? Mickey Lolich brought back on short rest versus Steve Ranko. The Tigers get to Ranko, who pitched very well his first time against them, not so much the second time. Northrop triple, sac fly Terrell, RBI double Stevenson, RBI Verizon, Horton RBI, Northrop an RBI, chipping away early and often on Ranko, 6 runs. Meanwhile, Mickey Lolich, 4-hit CGSO. Quieting the Expo offense. The Tigers win Game 5, 3-2. They still don't own home field advantage, but they have the series lead with Games 6 and 7 if necessary here in Lake Champlain. So what's it all mean with the Tigers presently up 3-2? Let's look at the standings. In this division, pretty much set up so that Cleveland and Detroit have some room to frolic around. No longer under the thumb of the Yankees, the Orioles, and the Red Sox. They got their own division that they can lord over. The only problem is they ain't lording. Cleveland just lost their last series. I didn't broadcast this series because the teams are so bad, but Cleveland's pretty much toast. They lost to the Ohio team. And right now, the teams are just a half game apart. The Expos are a half game behind the Tigers. Probably no wild cards are going to come from this division. Disregard the seeding presently. That doesn't become final until, of course, the playoffs begin. But we have a Game 6 today back in Expo land. The Tigers will send Dave Lemanchik out there. Lemanchik, a youngster, 1975. We brought him and LaFleur into the fold. Lemanchik will have his moments. I think he's got one really good season coming up. Otherwise, kind of shaky. 2-7, 4.46 ERA in 109 innings. And the Tigers could quickly hook him if needed, as swingman Gary Gentry sports a 3.41 ERA. Former Met Gary Gentry. He often comes in. Lemanchik usually only gets about 5 or 6 innings. And your Expos will send Bill Stoneman out there. Now, Bill and Steve Ranko, teammates, have had different kinds of seasons. Ranko, as a number 4 starter, has been great. Stoneman, as a number 2 starter, hasn't been. Maybe because he's been matched up against a lot of 1s and 2s. Stoneman was 12-14, 298 ERA, 251 innings for the Expos in 72. But he's the superior pitcher today on paper. Maybe that will help him. From Lake Champlain, Burlington, Vermont, just a 2-hour drive down from Canada to catch the big game. Tigers Expos. Last 2 games for these 2 division rivals before the All-Star break. Let's get started. Leading off, it'll be the rookie, Ron LaFleur. 2-9, rolls short. Dick McAuliffe, 2-8, rolls the third. Al Kaline, 46. He's having a really good series. This time he Ks. Bottom of the first, it's Jerry White, 59. Short X, McAuliffe. Excuse me, not McAuliffe. Verizon, 3.44. That's an error. Ron Hunt, 5'11". Pitcher X, Lemanchik, and you filled your position. E13. Pretty good. And that's a double play. That'll help a whole lot in keeping you in the rotation there, Dave. If you can field your position as a young pitcher, that helps. Helps a lot. Mike Jorgensen, 45. Triple, 1-10 double. That's a triple. Oh, boy, that's a lot of extra base hits. Oh, now more that I look at the card. Bob Bailey with 2 outs is a walk. On the corners, 2 outs for Ron Fairley. 69 flies to left field. Tigers need to jump on the pose early so they can lift LeManchek with a lead and give John Hiller a 2-inning save. Top of 2, Norm Cash. 110 flies to right. Willie Horton, here's a who. Bouncer to short. This is Grabarkowitz. A 4-44 at short. Makes the play. Jim Northrup, 34, first. Bottom of 2, Leroy Stanton. 2-8, double 1-8 is a base hit. Jim Nettles, 2-3, fielder's choice. Runner at first again for Gary Carter, 33, flies to right. And with 2 outs, it's Billy Grabarkowitz, 58, is a strikeout. Scoreless today, into the third, Tom Verizor, 310 short. Dave Chalk, 2-8, lines are short. And John Stevenson, 58, short X. This is Grabarkowitz again, a 40-44 shortstop. Makes the play. Shaky defense, doesn't matter. In that case, 9 up and down for Stoneman. Bottom of the third, Jerry White. 34, lines are short. Ron Hunt, 66, center. Mike Jorgensen, 57, is a K. LeManchek answers at the bottom half of the inning. We go to the fourth. Surprisingly scoreless between the 2 starters. Ron LaFleur, 37, is a K. Dick McAuliffe, 69, center. Al Kaline, 6'10", third X. Third is a 40-19. That's an error on Bob Bailey. Norm Cash, 55. Off the Stoneman card, trying to make it hurt. Triple 128 double. Cannot get the triple. It's a double. Now Kaline can run, though. 13, 14, 15 against the -3 arm. But he's thrown out the plate by the center fielder, Lee Stanton. Former Angel. Left available, and the Expos got him. And he just threw the dude out the plate with his -3 arm. Bottom of the fourth. Bob Bailey, 49. Single 1-19 gets it. Ron Fairley, 46. That's a clean double to center field. Bailey will hold at third. Second and third, Lee Stanton. 48, single dot, and your Expos do all the damage on the LeManchek card. 2-zip. Jim Nettles. 38's a K. Gary Carter, 68, center. And Grabarkowitz, 58, Ks. Well, it settles down, actually. After 3 straight outs after the 2 runs score. Into the 5th. For the Tigers, it's Willie Horton, here's a who. 2-9, rolls a short. Jim Northrup, 63, second X. Hunt's a 40-18, makes the play. And Tom Verizor, 59, second C. Bill Stoneman with a 1-hitter. A double by Cash has been it. Off the Stoneman card. Expos have a 2-0 lead. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Bottom of the 5th. It'll be Jerry White. 65, second. Ron Hunt, 65 for a righty, is short X. Again, it's Verizor, a 344. Had his struggles in the World Series, of course, as any below average fielder would have in a playoff game. Mike Jorgensen, 57, is a strikeout. A commendable 5 innings for LeManchek. Did his part, his offense did not. Top of the 6th, Dave Chalk, 6'11", first X. But it's a black hole at first. It's Mike Jorgensen, a 1-2 first baseman. Good luck with that. Gobbles that one up. John Stevenson. 311, fly ball to right, and he hurts himself. So Bill Freehan gets an early call on this one. the platoon catchers. With 2 outs, back up top to LaFleur. 69, skies in center field. Bill Stoneman having the best start of the year for him. Lemanchek is actually a relief 4, starter 8, which is crazy. He normally doesn't pitch to the 8th, but he'll continue into the 6th here. He'll face Bob Bailey. 1-4 center. Ron Fairley, 66, flies to right. And with 2 outs, it's Lee Stanton, 47. Base hit. Jim Nettles, 33. Homer, 1 of 7. Fly ball the rest, and he fly balls the rest. The last time we saw the Expos, they played Cleveland in a best of 7, and they won like 3 or 4 extra inning games to do so by the skin of their teeth. It's not always pretty for the Expos, and today they're going to have to figure out, how to win a tight one with a 2-0 lead and Bill Stoneman. Defensively, can we help old Bill out as we get into the later innings? We can put Ted Martinez at short. We'll flip out shortstops. Ted Martinez will take over at short for Grabarkowitz. Top of the 7th for Stoneman. Expos have some tough right-handed relievers on this team. Bob Reynolds and Dale Murray with 190 and 103 ERAs in the Expo bullpen, along with Walker and Scott. Top of the 7th, Dick McAuliffe. 2-3, lines of short. Tigers have been in a lot of rodeos like this, so they're not overly impressed with their opponent. Al Kaline, skies center. And Norm Cash, 1-8 is a walk. And your tie run, Willie Horton, here's a who. Only takes 1 swing in this. 64, he needed a 5-4. 64 is catcher's X. This is Gary Carter. Yes, 3-8. Makes the play. Brisk game here at Lake Champlain on the lake. Built a stadium there. Great summer activities. Stretch time here. It is a 2-0 lead. Today, the musical selection, we have interesting choice. Going back to 1967 with Like to Get to Know You by the Spanky and Our Gang. Of course, the big single on the radio from this record, Like to Get to Know You. Let's throw that one down for the home team. The single actually is a different version than the studio record. So, bottom of the 7th. Lemanchek has earned the right to continue. It's Gary Carter. 55's a walk. Ted Martinez, 2 7s a K. Back up top to Jerry White. 43, right X. K-Line's a 2-E-2 in right field. But they get a fly ball A. So they got a guy at second with 2 outs, and it's Ron Hunt. 37 is a walk, and this is the time. And I think what we're going to do here, we have our choice between Hiller and Veal for Jorgensen. We're just going to go John Hiller. And we're going to be careful with this. He may not finish this game if the Tigers don't rally, because we might need to have Hiller for Game 7. Of course, John Hiller threw 125 innings in 73. He could pitch a couple innings in each game. He's 10-5 with a .44 ERA. Trying to keep this a 2-0 affair. Lemanchek leaves after 6 2/3. John Hiller against Mike Jorgensen with 2 on and 2 outs. Here's the pitch. 2-8 is a strikeout. Classic by Spanky and Our Gang. Turn it down a little bit. There we go, rally music. Turn it back down as we go to the 8th inning. Bill Stoneman throwing a 2-0 shutout. Again, we brought the defense in, which is Ted Martinez. let's just keep going. We haven't shown any cards because nothing has happened on the runs were scored off the pitcher's cards. We go to the 8th. It'll be Jim Northrup. 2-6. Well, let's start looking. Here's the Jim Northrup card in 1973. 307. You know, the best batting average since the 68 series in 73. 12 home runs, 307. Still a great glove in the outfield. 2-6, double 1-5, and that is a double. Tom Verizor. 48, second X. Second baseman is Ron Hunt, 418. He makes the play. He has done this a lot this year. With his 4 defense, he is not imploded. We joked about this in the Cleveland series, that he was probably going to the All-Star game because as a 4 shortstop, he hasn't given up any hits or errors this year. It's ridiculous for their opponents, so the opponents think it's ridiculous. Ground ball moves Northrup to third base, and it's Dave Chalk. They got to bring it up for the A bunter. 411 right X, Jim Nettles, a 2-7. And that's a fly ball lay sack fly. And we got a 2-1 game. And it's Bill Freehan for the injured Stevenson. 37 is a K. Now decision time. We'll go one more inning with Hiller. Inning and a third, and obviously it'll play out like it is. If the Tigers rally to get a lead, Hiller will go 2 1/3 innings for a win. Otherwise, he'll just pitch the inning and a third and be available for Game 7. So it'll be Bob Bailey. 56 is a K. Ron Fairley, 38, rolls to first. And Leroy Stanton, 43, left X. Out in left field is Northrup, 2-6 in left field, but it's going to be a base hit. Tough break for Jim. And now it's Jim Nettles. 46 against the lefty Hiller. Double 1-3 fly ball, and he missed it. And sky's the center. Buckle up, folks. This is it. We're in the 9th inning of a 2-1 thriller. And I know, Stoneman fans out there want them to go for the complete game, but we ain't doing it. You don't see such a quick hook in a 2-1 game when your starting pitcher's throwing a 2-hitter. But if the reliever you're bringing in is Dale Murray, then you think otherwise. Dale Murray, 74, 1.03 ERA in 70 innings. Oh, my God. And they made him a relief 4, which is just, it's unfair, really. Most likely he will be the All-Star game closer, we think. But he comes in a 2-1 affair. Small sample size guys on the Expos, guys who have one outlier season over a period of 4 years, really has helped this squad. Dale Murray in the 9th, his most dominant season ever, but he'll have to deal with the top of the Tiger lineup, beginning with Ron LaFleur. 311 for Ron's a fly ball to right, and it'll be Dick McAuliffe. 2-9 rolls the second, and with 2 outs, it's all up to Al Kaline. Let's take a look at Al's card from 1972. Only hits .313, folks. And again, like Northrup, highest batting average since the 68 series. Again, these guys just go into a vault, a cryogenic vault, and they don't age, or Mr. Scotty beams them to another planet in the off season, so they stay the same. They're permanently like 28 years old their whole major league career. Anyway, with 2 outs and nobody on, here's the pitch to Al Kaline. 5-11 off Murray, short X. This is Ted Martinez, the defensive substitute, a 3-18 at short. And he makes the play, and that's your ball game. Wow, that was a quick affair there. One of our faster games here on YouTube. The Expos win 2-1, Game 6. Stoneman gets the win, Murray the save, Dave LeManchuk a hard luck loser. He pitched very well. So, Game 7, it'll be Dave McNally, acquired from Baltimore in the offseason for the Expos. And he will battle Joe Coleman for the Tigers. And we'll have that result of that game coming up, so stay tuned. All right, baseball fans, what a great and competitive back-and-forth series this was. This is the box score of Game 6 you just saw. The brilliant pitching performance of Bill Stoneman. 8 innings, 2 hits on a run, a walk and 3 Ks, with Dale Murray bringing his electric stuff to close out the Tigers. David LeManchek had one of the best starts of his year and was wasted. 6 2/3, 6 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, and 6 Ks. Hiller went an inning and a third. That would be critical, meaning that what we're going to do with him in Game 7, where we let him go 2 innings, 1 inning. He hasn't pitched a lot in the series, so we'll find out in a moment here. Game 7. It's going to be Dave McNally and Joe Coleman. They've had their struggles recently. Coleman is much better against righties than lefties, and McNally, predictably, the same opposite. A lefty who's better against lefties, and righties give him some problem with this card. And both pitchers put men on early, and the Tigers get more runs out of it. Bottom of the first, Expos, walk, single, RBI single, Jorgensen. Second inning for the Tigers, walk, single, RBI single, Verizon. Top of the third, a Willie Horton 2-run homer, 3-1. Top of the fourth, walk, double, single, single, single. And it's 5-1 Tigers, starting to get away from the Expos a little bit, as McNally is faltering. But in the bottom of the fourth, a double by Jim Nettles, a double by Jerry White. It's 5-2. The chipping away continues into the sixth. Solo homer Gary Carter. It is 5-3. And then in the late innings, McNally is pulled after just 5 1/3, 10 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, 2 Ks for Bob Reynolds, who's a relief 4. And that'll be a key moving ahead here. Joe Coleman is left in the 7th inning trying to see if he can pitch his way out of a game where he's got a 5-3 lead. He gets a walk, a fielder's choice, but then normally reliable Dick McAuliffe, a 2E13 second baseman, makes an error, then a strikeout. Then Jim Nettles, like a 240 hitter, gets a single off of him. Gary Carter gets a 2-out single off him. The game's tied. Who was going to blink? And it would be Bob Reynolds. Reynolds had a okay line, 2 2/3, 3 hits and a run. That run came in the 8th. A leadoff double off of Northrup's card, but then Dave Chalk gets an RBI single on his own card. He becomes the hero of the series. Tigers reclaim a lead. Also, that means Joe Coleman, who finished the 7th inning, can still get a victory. He left the game tied, and they got a lead for him in the top of the 8th. And this is where the Tigers go for Hiller with 2 innings available, probably not extra. So he's got to hold the 1-run lead. In the 8th inning, all you could get is a walk from Mike Jorgensen with 2 ground balls and a fly out. Then in the bottom of the 9th, you get 2 outs, an error by shortstop Tom Verizon, but then Gary Carter ends this series with a fly ball to left field, and the Tigers win Game 7. You know, the Expos are a good broadcast, folks. They've played 14 games and are 7-7. It's hard to make, what to make out of that. This whole division is like underachieving against the rest of the league. Let's go take a look at the standings first, and it's a flip-flop. The Tigers will be in first at the All-Star break, but when the postseason tournament begins, these two teams will pick up where they left off. As in the postseason tournament first round, the first and second place teams battle to compete for first place. Doesn't necessarily clinch the division, they're just competing for first place. So we'll see these teams again. Let's look at the stats and see if we can glean anything from these two squads. The 16-13 Tigers, clearly not the same powerhouse they were in the last 5 years. They're a fading team. The new parts are so-so. Overall, they're hitting .249 with a .334 ERA in a weak division. Hiller has been fantastic. 5 saves, 1 run allowed in 13 2/3. Coleman has survived 6-1 record, but he's been shaky, getting a lot of run support. Lolich 5-2. You have Willie Horton having yet another monster season for the Tigers. 11 homers and 30 ribby. He's on the MVP list in the American League. Seems year after year after year, Horton does this. He doesn't get into many slumps. And let's take a peek at the Expos. Just a half game behind. Anybody could come win this division. They're hitting .251 with a .361 ERA. Not much difference with them and the Tigers statistically. Steve Rogers is 4-1. He's got a sub-2 ERA on his card, but he's pitching to a .432 ERA with it because teams are loading up with right-handed hitters against him. Bill Stoneman is 2-5. You saw one of his wins. Renko is 3-2. This bullpen, my goodness. Dale Murray has 6 saves. I mentioned the All-Star game. 17 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 8 Ks. Offensively for the Expos, not much in the homer department or the RBI department. Matter of fact, Jerry White. This is weird. The leadoff hitter, Jerry White, has 1 homer and 21 RBIs to lead the club. Very weird. 9 doubles. He's 36 for 128. That's a .281 average. No idea who's going to go to the All-Star game for the Expos. Probably Dale Murray. Anyway, at this point in the season, at 421 games, our league ERA, we're down to 3.90. It was over 4 earlier in the year, hitting .262. And we're getting a little bit clearer picture in the American League. Again, going back, anybody can win this division here. Boston has to play Toronto, hold off the hard-charging Blue Jays. The White Sox and Royals here. White Sox got to get some wins, though. You can be great and play great baseball, but you still got to collect victories. Play poorly and win is what I suggest the White Sox do. Pull some victories out of the jaws of defeat for once instead of relying on stellar play to get your wins. And there's, of course, the Oakland A's. The Rangers beating up on the lowly Mariners and Angels to get close in the American League. That's it tonight. Let's break it up for your Detroit Tigers, your defending world champion Tigers, the old men who age like fine wine. They outlast the Expos 4-3. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.